And the fourth light I want to show you is I want to delete this. The fourth light is called the HDR light, which stands for High Dynamic Range Image. Now, if I look around my scene, right, if I take the scroll wheel and rotate around, I don't have anything around my scene. And usually when you're working on animations, you want to have something wrapping around your scene, which is a sky. Because if I wrap around the sky, it's going to give us pretty realistic lighting, realistic shadows. And there are many HDR skies which we can use. And on the internet, we can download them for free and apply it in Blender. And that's pretty easy. And now I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you remember, when we messed around with the textures in the texturing episode, we went to the shading workspace. So now I'm going to go back to shading workspace. I'm going to move out. And then instead of the material view, I'm going to enter the rendered view. If rendered view is laggy or if cycles is too laggy, make sure to go here and then switch this to EV. Now, what I want to do is change the world settings here. So if you remember, if I select this material, if I select this cube, we have a bunch of materials for the cube. But right now we're changing the object nodes, the object materials. So instead of object materials, we're going to go to the world materials. But before we do that, for the organization's sake, we can always rename materials. So no matter what kind of material you're working on, whether it's a world material or object, you can rename it to keep things organized. So I'm going to go here, which is this material 001, and I'm going to name this something like cube gradient. And this is going to help us later when we have a lot of scenes and a lot of materials in the scene. Now I'm going to select this object and then go to world. Now if I switch to world, we can see we have this background node and the world output node. But that's not really enough to light the scene. I'm going to show you what these nodes do, right? So if I take the background node, first I'm going to zoom out and then let's look at the sky. If I take the background and then make this bright, you can see my scene is going to become a lot brighter. If I make this blue, I'm going to get this blue skylight look. Or I can make this orangey or any other type of color we want. But that's not realistic and that's not what we want. And by the way, if you want to change the settings, you can do the same thing here. This red circle is called the world properties. So click here and then you can do the same thing here. You can either take this, change it like this, and it's going to do the same thing. You can also change the strength from here or from here. Now, in order to add the sky around our scene and wrap it around the scene, what we want to do is go here, for example. You can do it from here as well, but I want to show you how to do it from here as well. So go here, and then next to this color, we have this circle. Click on the circle, and you have a bunch of options. And don't worry, I know there are many options, but we don't really need to use all of them. We only need one of them, which is under the texture over here. So under the texture, we have this thing called the environment texture. So click on environment texture. And now if you notice, first of all, everything turns pink. And we get this image texture over here. This thing is called the image texture, or in this case, it's the environment texture. Now, the reason why it's pink is because Blender doesn't have any data. And whenever Blender doesn't have any data, things turn either pink or black. In this case, it turns pink because Blender has no idea what we want to add here. But here, we want to add an HDR sky, high dynamic range image sky, which is like high resolution 10K sky, for example. So what we want to do is first of all, you're going to go inside your course files and then find the HDR skies folder. And once you do that, make sure to click on open from here. And then make sure to go through your folders, go through your files, and then locate your course files. And then inside your course files, you're going to find the HDR sky pretty easily. So now I located my folder over here and I'm going to click on this and I get a bunch of HDR skies here. If you want to preview the thumbnails instead of the titles, you can go up here and then click on this thumbnail preview. Click here and I get a bunch of HDR skies. Now these are the HDR skies I provided in this course, but remember you can go online and find a lot more HDR skies. So one of the best websites to get free realistic looking HDR skies is Polyhaven. So I can actually scroll down here, go to HDR skies, browse HDR skies, and you have a lot of HDRs with different options. You have indoor, outdoor lighting, and you have the previews over here. And you can use any of them you want. But for now, you can go to the course files and then use the HDR skies that I have provided. So now for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you how the daylight looks. So I'm going to click this one, click here and wait for a few seconds. And now look what happens. We have a realistic sky wrapped around our scene. It's going to give us nice shadows, nice reflection. And even though it gives us pretty nice shadows, I still like to first create an HDR sky and then click on Shift A, light, and then create a sunlight as well. A lot of people advise against using the HDR and sunlight together, but I find that for Minecraft animations, it's pretty useful. So I like to create an HDR sky together with the sunlight. Now I'm going to delete the sunlight and I'm going to show you what HDR sky does and how to customize this further. So first, what we need to do is enable the Node Wrangler add-on because it's going to give us a lot of control when working with either the world textures or even the object textures, especially in the future. So what we want to do is go back to the world texture and enable the Node Wrangler add-on. So we're going to go to Edit, Preferences, go to Add-ons, and then type Node Wrangler add-on. So make sure you enable the Node Wrangler add-on. And since we have the autosave preferences enabled, I can close the preferences. Now, Node Wrangler allows us to speed up some things, and I'm going to show you what this does right now. So first, what we want to do is control how the sky is positioned. Because right now, the sky is positioned nicely, but maybe we want, for example, take the sun and then move it over here. But we don't know how to do that. But that's actually pretty easy to do. So what I want to do is select the image texture, which is the sky one adjusted, and then click on the shortcut, which is Control T. Now, if I click on Control T, it's going to give us two new nodes. One is texture coordinate, and the second one is mapping. So now if I want to control the location of the sky, I have these sliders. Now we have location, rotation, and scale. So what we want to do is click on rotation. So if I want to take the sun and then move it on the right side, I can actually go to the Z rotation, and it's going to rotate on the Z axis. If you remember, the Z rotation is done like this. So if I click on RZ, it's going to rotate only on this axis. So it's going to do the same thing for the sky. So if I take the Z axis and then move this on the right side, you can see it's moved the sky on the right side. It's pretty laggy because it's a big texture, it's a big image, but you can see the result, right? I'm going to go to Eevee for faster preview. So I'm going to click on Eevee, and then I'm going to move the sky on the right side. You can see how much faster Eevee is. So I'm going to move it either on the right side or on the left side.